Hi, I'm Maddie, and today I'm going to be making a Dutch Stampot. So let's get started. First, we have to wash our hands to make sure that they are nice and clean. Next, we have to gather all of our ingredients, which is 5 potatoes, salt, butter, milk, ground black pepper, extra virgin olive oil, 1 onion, minced garlic, curly kale, water, white wine vinegar, smoked sausage, and green onions. Before we start cooking, I'm going to wash the vegetables. While you watch me rinse off my vegetables, I'm going to get started on my presentation about the Netherlands. First, food imports. The Netherlands mainly take in sunflower seeds and oil, canola seeds and oil, and rape seeds. Their exports are dairy and eggs, meat, vegetables, fruit and beverages, and horticulture. To get started, we are going to peel all of our potatoes. As I looked at the comparison between the imports and exports had almost 10 times more money taken in than the imports were being spent. Next, I'm going to be talking about common dishes. For breakfast, the Dutch eat some similar dishes to the United States, like yogurt and milk with oatmeal. They also eat many things on bread, like chocolate sprinkles, jam, and meat. The Dutch eat their breakfast between 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. After we finish peeling all of our potatoes, we're going to slice them into smaller pieces. For lunch, the Dutch eat a lot of similar things to their breakfast, but they have some other common dishes that they eat, like toasties, gingerbread, and broodje kaas, which is bread with cheese. The Dutch eat their lunch between 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. For dinner, the Dutch eat meals like stampot, hoesbot, and a couple different varieties of soup. They eat their dinner between the hours of 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And on the weekends, they eat their dinner in more comfortable ways like watching TV in the living room while they eat. After we cut them, we're going to put them into this pot. For their snacks, the Dutch like to eat bitterballen, frikandel, croquette, oliebollen, kipling, and herring. Now I'm going to fill the stock pot up until it covers all the potatoes. Now we're going to turn this on high until it's boiling, and then we're going to turn it down so it's a simmer. Now we're going to add 2 teaspoons of salt to the potatoes in water. The Dutch like to drink a lot of alcoholic drinks, which are Dutch beer, Genever, Cornwin, Kroopsnoot, Advocaat, Orange Bitter, and Vins. Okay, so now I'm going to peel the onion. Next, I'm going to talk about the major cooking utensils that the Dutch use. Now that I have finished peeling, I am going to turn down the stove because we are on a boil, so I'm going to turn it down to low until it comes to a simmer. And we're going to cut off the top of this, just to get this top part off. And then the bottom. And then I'm going to move this over here to mince it. Now I'm going to chop it up into fine pieces. The major cooking utensils that the Dutch use are mashers, which is used for mashing up foods like vegetables, poffertje pans, which is for cooking their poffertjes, which is pancakes, and meat grinders, which is used for grinding their meat like sausage. Next, I'm going to talk about the traditional food customs The Dutch have different foods for different times of the day. They make food that includes meat, potatoes, or fish for dinner, and foods that include bread and cheese for all the other meals. Now that our onions are finished, I'm going to scrape them into this bowl and put them away for later. Now that our potatoes have been in the water for about 15 minutes, I am going to get the potato water and get a cup of it and add it to this. And set it aside for later. Next, we are going to drain the potatoes, and I have this colander right here. So I'm gonna grab the potatoes and pour them into here. Okay. And then we are going to get all the water out. Or most of it out. And add it back into our pot. Now that we've put our potatoes back into our pot, we're gonna add 1/2 cup of milk, 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. Next, I'm going to talk about their table manners. The Dutch have a couple of rules while eating at their dinner table. These rules include keeping your hand above the dinner table until all guests have finished eating. Now I'm going to mash up the potatoes with the potato masher. More rules include taking a small serving as your first portion so you're able to accept a second serving, and finish everything on your plate because the Dutch do not like to waste food. Now that they are all mashed up, I am going to add the potato water, and stir it in, but only do a little bit at a time. This potato water makes the potatoes more smooth. Now moving on to the religious foods. In 2021, the US government researched Dutch religion and reported that 57% of the Dutch population did not believe in religion. Some foods that go with the small part of religion there are bread, grape wine, and dates. I'm not going to add the full thing because I think that it already looks good. So this is what it should look like at this point. Now I am going to move this back to this smaller one and turn off the bigger one just to keep it warm, and then we're going to save it for later. Next, I'm going to get this skillet and I'm going to put it on medium and add 2 tablespoons of the olive oil. Popular dishes in the Netherlands include stamppot, poverties, oliebollen, aarstoot, pannenkoeken, and sate. And then I'm going to add the onions. The Dutch's table setting is very close to the US, except they replace a spoon with a knife and add a spoon at the top of the plate. Okay, and then we're going to have this sit and we're going to occasionally stir it for 6 to 7 minutes. Now I'm going to cut the kale into 1/2 inch pieces, and I'm going to put it in this because you need a cup full. Now I'm going to take a little break break from cutting these, and I'm gonna go stir the onions real quick. Popular restaurants in the Netherlands are Moders, Café Dark, Winkel 43, De Kaas, and Café Katja. I think these are a good size, so we're gonna see how much we have. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of the video. It's almost there, so I'm just gonna cut up one more of these. Now, let's finish. So our onions are done. Okay, perfect. Now, let's go to our onions. Now I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. And it's gonna sit or cook for 30 seconds. So now we're gonna add our kale, a cup of kale. The recipe says to add 1.5 cups, but it seems like a lot, so I just put a little bit over the cup. And then I'm gonna add 1/4 cup of water. Stir it up. Next, we're gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of white wine vinegar and mix it up. Now we're gonna cover this for 2 minutes and wait for our kale to wilt. Next, we're gonna take this off and add some pepper. And a pinch of salt. Now we're gonna bring this forward and add this into the potatoes. And then we're gonna set it back onto the smaller one just to keep it warm. Now I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil into the skillet that I just emptied. Now I'm going to cut these into thin pieces. Now I'm going to add the sausage in. Now I'm going to turn this off and empty all these onto a plate. Some of them got a little burnt, but it's okay. We have are heat proof. So yes, okay. We're gonna let that cool down, and then I'm going to get 5 bowls. Over here, and I'm going to add about 5 we're gonna do. Okay, now that we have these, I'm gonna quickly cut up the green onion. Now I'm gonna cut this and mince up this green onion. Now that I've finished cutting these into relatively small pieces, I am going to add them to my bowls. Okay, now after you finish all that, you have your Dutch sand pot.